Master Series products have failed. They are no longer the product that players look forward to the most each and every year. But what happened? What led to the demise of a product that brought in this much money to Wizards of the Coast? In today's video, we are going to discuss that very downfall of this hugely successful product lineup and what Wizards of the Coast could do to save it. June 7th, 2013. Modern Masters is released by Wizards of the Coast to a massive successful launch. And then they figured all they have to do is copy what they're doing and it'll continue to be a success, right? Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today as we discuss the demise of Master Series products, the downfall of this massive successful product lineup that now kind of sits on the shelves of your local LGS, collecting dust, getting ridiculed, and no longer having the appeal that it once had. A reminder that if you're new to the channel and you enjoy today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bells. New content will come out each and every day. So what are we talking about when we're looking at Master Series products? Well, hold on. Let me show you what's happening right now. So here on our screen, you can see Modern Masters from 2013 currently retails for $649.95 Canadian. Back when it was released, it was $199.95 Canadian at this exact same store. This product was so successful, they reprinted it multiple times, and it's still available. So why is it available if it was that popular? If it was that collectible, that desirable, why is there any available at your local LGS? How about Ultimate Masters, the box right next door to it? The first introduction of box toppers. That box used to be $399.95. Now it's $549.95. And again, it's in stock and it's available. The same can be said for Modern Masters 2017. We have Commander Masters, a very new product for $499, not far off of what we've seen for 2017 or for Ultimate Masters. And how about the other successive products that have come out? We got Commander Masters collector decks, Commander Masters English draft boxes. We've got 2015 Modern Masters. We can jump all the way through and look at VIP packs. Remember those? I opened some of those here on the channel with some of you guys. We can also look at things like Iconic Masters, Masters 25, and of course we got the collector boxes. So when you look at all these products, and the success starts to dwindle with each and every release date, they are less special. They are less well thought of. Players have more complaints, and they seem to have a lot more issue with buying the products. So what changed between 2013 and 2023? Well, we know macroeconomics plays a role, of course. But there's a lot more when you see 10 years of a product line. You'll notice, like I did, that the demise comes from several fronts. It's not any one thing that made it die out. It was a whole successive launch of small factors and indicators that slowly ate away at the popularity of the product line that ultimately has led to its demise. The ever-increasing prices that Wizards charge for these products, remember, back then, you could get these things for $225. 24 packs back then, right? $224, 25, $225, $199, somewhere in there, depending on where you were buying it from. My spreadsheets have a few different prices, but I remember 401 Games being $199.95, but some local stores have it for $224.99, depending on where you're buying. And then you go all the way through to Ultimate Masters. Remember box toppers? $399.95. Okay. And since then, the prices have gone even higher. Has the card quality kept up? Have the quality of the reprints being chosen kept up? Well, with power creep the way it is, there's an ever diminishing return on each and every one of these boxes. The pressure of better cards being made has crushed the value of the cards that were once inside these boxes. The collectability only plays a certain level when these boxes have no cards worth collecting inside. It isn't like it has the chance for a Wayne Gretzky rookie card, right? It's not no Peachy. There isn't that same level of desirability of the individual cards. Another problem going forward is they killed that secondary market value with the constant reprinting and better cards being printed that superseded the cards within the set. The large print runs kept getting bigger and bigger. They were always available on a store shelf. They were not special. They were not desirable. The allocations were too big. They were not kept in check. When it's always available, when it's always there, that whole rule of it, if it's always special, then it's never special. Because there's just too much, but you can't help it. A company like Wizards of the Coast just continues to see cash flowing in, and they want to replicate it and accelerate it and replicate it and accelerate it and give you a dwindling return on the products they give you and accelerate it. It was an ever diminishing return. That's a Magic card, by the way. Diminishing returns. It got less and less. And as those cards got less and less, as the value inside the boxes got less and less, it gave players more ammunition to gripe. And Wizards tried instituting things like the box toppers, serialized cards, but all those kind of flash and flare type things don't hold up over time if the players can't understand why they are paying the box prices they are based on the cards inside the box. If those two do not meet, then players shun the product. If they can't find the value, if they can't understand, which a lot of players can't anymore, they do not understand why all these variants are charged for this much money. It's a reprint of a reprint of a reprint for most of these cards, and yes, it alleviates prices, but that the volume of the cards coming out has crushed itself under its own weight. So what is Wizards of the Coast left to do? They can either reinvent the product or end the product lineup. They've already started branching out with things like Modern Horizons from the Master Series products. They've introduced that very successfully, but what they really need to do is something a little bit different. They need to let all these reprints sit. Let them mellow. Cut reprints entirely. Explore new worlds, new game mechanics, a whole new way of introducing these cards in. Allow the cards to have a lateral move sideways in value by letting them rest. Let the new cards coming out from all the new worlds Wizards of the Coast can easily give us without too much R&D and research and development. I mean, it takes a little bit of story writing, some good card and concept designs they probably already have on the books, but give us a whole new slew of new cards that can be integrated into past sets, but also new sets going forward, which will do two things. It will let the older cards recover a little bit. As long as they don't print too much power creep or allow the cards to find strictly better versions being printed every day, those cards will recover. It'll make players feel better about spending higher volumes of cash to get cards they believe could have some future value. And I understand that'll be a hard thing for players to accept, but it's just the way it has to be. It's not just game pieces as much as we all want it to be and be cheap for everyone. Wizards wouldn't be investing the time and money in R&D if they weren't making money. So they've got to find a way to retain that value, which also helps all the players out there who were buying those expensive boxes in the first place to make them available to all the other players. It's a big system out there. Now, with the new products coming out, if Wizards of the Coast allows for these new products to be created, I'm not talking about ramping up volumes, I'm saying offer less products, but only offer those products. Cut the other Master Series products out for a while, allow the new ones to come in, let the old cards rest. The new products should almost have entirely new cards or new variants on these cards. Slightly different takes and stuff, but not a power creep move, more or less a lateral move, which allows for these cards to be integrated into things like Commander, Legacy, Modern, whatever format you want. If you get cards with similar abilities, similar casting costs and power levels, you get new cards to introduce to those decks. Players don't feel like they're being ripped off on the new products, and there's the potential for values due to synergy to be regained. This does a double fold for Wizards and for us as players. I think this is where they went wrong, is they did not actually manage their IPs well. They had their whole economic team looking at the best way to generate cash flow for the company, but not look at the overall health and benefit of the game itself so you don't turn away your consumer base. They need to continue to expand that consumer base so people want to buy those products in successful generations and allow those product lineups to continue into future generations of players as they age and get better jobs and can afford higher incomes, which allow them to buy those products. It's kind of funny when you look back on how they were so successful in 2013. And then a few hit and misses, and it looked like they were back on track. But after what we've seen in the overall market for Magic the Gathering, especially after 30th anniversary, Wizards of the Coast has a very long road back. They need to manage and get better people on board who can actually manage this reservoir of resource that this company contains, bring it forward with new ideas, and I don't think that's Chris Cox anymore, by the way. Maintain values there that allow for the recovery of players who are feeling fatigued by all the shrinkflation, and they have to get their pricing in check. It is not an ever-expanding price. As much as they keep trying to reach new limits, and I still think Modern Horizons will be a stretch forward, I think what they need to do is actually go backwards. And I know that's very hard for a company to hear. I'm not saying you have to drop your prices to way back to 2013, but you should have a cap limit on what you're willing to charge for certain product lineups. And you really have to have them tighten up the allocation numbers. I actually think these products should sell out. There should be a defined amount for a specialty product of reprints and say there's only going to be 100,000 boxes this year. That's the number. And the boxes should be dated. I've argued for that before, and I will argue for that in the future. It will allow players to have some kind of feeling of confidence that, oh, I'm on box 69,212. There's only 100,000 boxes worldwide. This is perfect. It's what they need to do to make sure you can regain the confidence, regain the values, and allow for future growth in the company with the collectability side of the game. Either way, this is how I feel about it. This is the way I think they should take the path forward. And you know what? Hopefully they take my advice. Hopefully they watch this video and take this advice forward so everyone can benefit. And by the way, I would still expand the reserve list. Add 2 cards from each standard set every single year, which allows for future growth in the collectability side of that side of the market as well. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for being here today. This is why Master Series are failing, and this is what they've got to do to make it recover. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for another video. To the amazing supporters we have on this channel, because of them, uploaded content happens each and every day. That's all the amazing patrons we have on the channel, my YouTube membership members, and sometimes a combination of both. Thanks again. See you tomorrow. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. There's no easy way to say this, but Boomstick. Shop smart, shop as smart. And that's what players are doing more and more. You guys have noticed it as much as me. All those products sitting on store shelves collecting dust. And nobody wants to touch them, no matter how old they get. There's no market demand anymore. There's nothing special. Too many were printed. They didn't go with serialized numbered boxes to say how many were created. And they didn't manage their IPs. And they're reaping. They're reaping what you sow. You went for fast cash. And yes, 10 years seems like a long time. But it's fast cash in the overall growth of what they could have done. Managing it better. They could have slowed down the power creep if they had managed this IP better. They could have done better reprints inside of some standard boxes as well as specialty products, and they should have been branching out specialty products a lot more than they did. It just drives me insane to think that if I was in charge of that company, there were so many things I would change. There were so many ways that I would have expanded into a broader market base at a minimal cost. And even if you only got 1% return on that investment, it would have been such a huge slew of players going forward. It drives me insane. Think about all the schools with low enrollment, all the libraries being underutilized, community centers around the world. Hosting tournaments at those sites, getting exclusive contracts, encouraging youth to play for free in youth tournaments. There is so much they could be doing, but instead, they went for fast cash, and they're not thinking about the long-term overall health of the amazing IP that they are in control of. Chris Cox, you gotta go, bro. Cynthia Williams shouldn't even have been there in the first place. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here, guys. That's the way I see it. You guys know it's true. I mean, it's Fallen Empires. It was amazing. Yeah, I'm old, but that's okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow.